So first we're going to start with Mark. Mark, go ahead and we're going to try the beer first.
All right.
And if you want to
I'd say
comment.
definitely get your nose right in there.
Okay.
Pretty much you can tell when I'm bartending and I have people come by and they want to try new beers. You can tell who's really an experienced beer drinker and who isn't, because pretty much one of the first things you'll see somebody who's a beer connoisseur or enthusiast always take a big smell first. And you can smell that lemongrass in there right away, along with like some like kind of fruity notes which come from the fact that it's an ale and there's fruity esters in that yeast, it being a top fermenting ale. It's naturally got a little fruity kind of citrusy note too.
One thing you also want to note when you're nosing a beer or a wine, you don't want to necessarily do it over a plate of food where the aromas are coming up, because that's going to confuse the aromas of the beer or wine and the food. So kind of want to do it off to the side if you can.
That's a good point.
Let's try this one out.
Now, do you typically taste the beer first and then the food, or do you taste the food first and then the beer? Because with wine, typically I'll taste the food first and then chase it, if you will, with the wine.
I hadn't really put much thought into it, but based on what you just said is more or less what I do without pretty much instinctively.
Gotcha. Do you chew a beer? Like, typically I'll chew a wine to get more out of it. It's called volatilizing the esters. By swishing it around in your mouth, it just opens the wine up in your mouth, and it gets, obviously also when you bring oxygen in, it just aerates the wine in your mouth, and it just intensifies the flavors. So it's just kind of easy. It's a way of cheating, really, to pick up more flavor so you can help identify or pair it against what you're tasting in the food. Do you do that with beer?
I don't do that. I try to give it that kind of volatility by pouring it with getting it a little extra air. You'll see, like, people sometimes complain about having a head on their beer. You should have a head on it. It means that it's been mashed around a little bit and gives it like some actual, kind of like with champagne and the champagne flute, where it's going to have some like bubbling coming up from and you get that by pouring the beer in such a way that you can get it to tumble a little bit. Like you may see, like when a bartender pours a beer on tap, they'll hold it off to the side for a bit to get a very straight pour, but then they'll straighten it out and put it further down, because that's where it all pops out, and then it gets that bouquet to come out a little higher for you.
I always thought that was because, and that's probably also a big part of it, but I always thought it was because you want to release the carbon dioxide so it's less filling.
No, that's not. I mean, that's really not a concern part of it. I mean, the biggest reason you're going to have the carbon dioxide in it regardless. You could put too much in it by pouring it too fast, too much at up and down 90 degree angle. So that's why you're going to pour it at 45 for the most of it. But you do that at the last minute to get a good pop out in it. I mean, obviously you could let too much of the carbon dioxide be in there, but it is a desired characteristic. There are some beers that are known for being flat, for lack of a better word, more so than others, and some of them are very highly carbonated. So you temper that with how it comes and how the brewer wanted it originally. And if it's important to them, they'll put it on the label. They'll explain to you how they want you to pour it and why, what it should look like, the finished product.
So how do you think you did here? I mean, talking about like the characteristics of the food, how it's playing with the beer. What do you think of this pairing?
Well, the sauce is richer than I originally expected. I still do like how the lemongrass is a nice complement to this dish overall, especially as you had said. You put the peas in for sweetness, and that really is exactly what I'm getting out of it, and it's a nice mix. And I think that balances against it nicely. Again, also with the sweet, or slightly sweet but dry crispness of this, which allows you, with a creamy sauce too, I find that it will stay on my palate a little longer than I expected, or than I would even necessarily want to. But when I have this, it's gone. It's completely gone, and I start fresh, and it really allows me to enjoy the dish a little bit more each bite. Which, instead of it all being a bit mishmash of richness and all those flavors, I mean, there's a lot of flavors in there, and I think to be able to pick them apart and really enjoy the complexity of it, I think that's not a bad route at all.
I agree with you. I mean, like you had mentioned before, this really helps to cut through the richness of the dish. But yeah, again, it also like resets or cleanses the palate after each bite. So you're right. Even this dish definitely lingers, which is a great thing. But then, you know, you're kind of resetting the palate just to enjoy it yet again. It's almost like you get to enjoy it fresh, you know, like for the first time every time you take a bite. So, that being said, kudos. I think that is definitely a good pairing. We'll see how we do with the wine. Chef, any feedback from you on the beer and the food? How do you think
Actually,
that
I was a little surprised that Mark would pick the Tommy Knocker Jack Whacker, but I see that it works.
Yeah, I think it works very well. I agree with you. And like I said, normally I wouldn't know what to pair for a beer. I mean, all I would think is I should pair a light beer, you know, something lighter. But, you know, a wheat beer works very well. I'm not necessarily a wheat beer drinker, but this works great.
Wheat beers are very quickly identified as one of the top choices to go with most Asian cuisine. German and Saisons, which are Belgian farmhouse ales, they're wheat-based and they're very dry. Big reason why is a lot of Asian food tends to be spicy, and they work to actually cut down on the hotness on your tongue. Now, this is not a spicy dish, but it's a very popular choice, and you'll always find that to be one of the first choices to pair with any Asian cuisine. You'll always see a type of wheat beer. Yeah. So I can't say I really went out on a crazy limb on this one.
But I think the lemongrass, again, great compliment.
I think that's what sets this one apart.
Good. Let's get into the Pinot and see how I did on this one. Hopefully I did just as well, if not better. We'll see.
Larry, that is an outstanding Pinot Noir.
You think so? Yeah?
Wonderful choice.
Good.
I'm not quite ready to concede, but
Yeah,
you're giving me a run for my money.
Okay. I'd say that's kind. I mean, I personally, I'm going to, but even before I hear the chef's feedback, I'm going to say that I would concede this one because I think the beer makes a better pairing. Not saying this is a bad pairing, but just having had both, my first reaction was I prefer the beer, which is very strange coming from a wine person, but I would definitely I would say that works very well. The wine, being that it's a nice complement, but it almost tends to take away from the dish. It's more so than adding to it. It's almost, it overpowers it a little bit. Having done this, I would probably stick with a white wine or maybe a rosé, a dry rosé, with this dish because I think even though the sauce is somewhat rich, the Pinot still tends to overpower it a bit. Would you guys agree with that?
Once again, I'm surprised. I thought the Pinot Noir would be perfect for this dish. Maybe the least fitch is a little more fruit forward than I remembered. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to go with Mark on this one.
Yeah, I think so. I would agree. I mean, you know, not having had the least fitch, I mean, and it's fine. It's a very good Pinot, but not as earthy as other Pinots, like you said. Definitely more of a fruit-driven Pinot.
It's definitely got a fruity berry note that I enjoy very much. Maybe not so much as a compliment to this dish, but wow, it's really, and I think that actually your assessment is the same as I come up. It is probably a little more than I would like with this dish. I think it does kind of steal the spotlight.
You're just saying that because I conceded.
That's my polite way. That's my polite way.
Winner.
Yeah, well, I try.
Well, great. Well, everybody, for WineXposed, I'm Larry. This is Mark and Chef Victor at Zen Forrest in the Trinity section of Port Richey. Come and check them out. Remember, the shows on WineXposed.com are organized by location, so definitely look for Zen Forrest, and remember also to sign up for the mailing list so you can learn about the prefix dinners and the events that they do, that Chef Victor does here at Zen Forrest. And I want to thank both of our guests today for hosting this event. It's really fun game. Thank you.
Yes,
guys.
it was fun. Thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers. Cheers. Good in you.